Rather lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. Gonna be diving into the latest around Arsenal. TROSSARD, there is an injury booster. Will be coming back before the international break. That is very, very massive. Gonna be talking about Tierney and also Reece Nelson in this video. But talk to me about Manchester United 0, Liverpool 7, guys. Talk to me about that game. I didn't watch it. But when I woke up in the morning, it was 7-0. What happened? What exactly happened to Man United? How did they capitulate like that? Are they even in the title race anymore? Hit the like button, subscribe to the podcast as well. Let's get this video to 400 likes, all right? Let's get this video to 400 likes. And in the comment box below, let me know what happened to Manchester United? What happened to Erik ten Hag's army? What happened to the best team in the Premier League since the World Cup? I want to know, guys. And how are you feeling this Monday? Because we won a very, very tight game. Of course, on Saturday, it wasn't the easiest of games. But the moment you get 3 points, you actually move on. Right, so let's dive into it. First and foremost, look, I want us to talk about that game. Man United 0-7 Liverpool. Arsenal do have to go to the Anfield. That will be in the next 3 games. Of 4 games, actually. Because we play Fulham next. Crystal Palace after that. And then Leeds United will come at the Emirates Stadium. And after that, Arsenal will have to travel to the Anfield. That is a massive shock for anyone who's going to play Liverpool. That is a massive message to anyone who's going to play Liverpool. That, listen, you're coming here. It's not going to be an easy game. And whatever you do and whatever you're going to do at the Anfield, you don't take us lightly. But Manchester United and the way they capitulated in that game, I've looked at the highlights. Didn't get the chance to watch the game. I will rewatch it later when I get some time. But when I look at that game, I'm going, are we losing the trophy at the Anfield? Or is this just Manchester United who are purely shit? But for me, as an Arsenal fan, I really don't care about Manchester United. They're 14 points behind Arsenal, and a massive goal difference behind us as well. I've never thought they were in the title race. I never thought that United were in a title race. I've always said there are only 2 clubs in the title race: Manchester City and and Arsenal. And yesterday we saw that Liverpool just confirming that Manchester United are just not there yet. But this is a massive lesson to Arsenal. When you go to the Anfield, we must go with one mind. This is a quality side. This is a top level side. If you're gonna play them, they've gone now 7 games at the Anfield. Is it unbeaten in the Premier League? So when you go there, there are things you've got to do. There are things you've got to think about. 1, how do we not concede those humiliating goals? Number 2, how do we break them down to get the goals in? And if we cannot win, can we not lose at the Anfield? But look, Manchester United fans, this is going to be a horrible week. I think they take on Real Betis as well. Not an easy side. They drew 0-0 with Real Madrid, so the quality side. But anyway, as an Arsenal fan, I enjoyed that. Like, I really did enjoy that. Looking at Man United losing 6-0 and 7-0, and this is not going to be for a very long time. Man United are going to come back. I think Ten Hag is a good manager. I think they have a good squad. I think they will improve their squad after some time. But for now, as Arsenal fans, we've got to enjoy that, right? So let's get to the Arsenal news now. TROSSARD is the big story around Arsenal right about now. A few stories coming in that TROSSARD is going to be okay, and Arsenal are still hoping that he's not suffered a strong or a very serious groin injury. Now, according to Mikel Arteta yesterday, he said there is something to be afraid of. There is something to be worried about, because when he came off, he wasn't feeling very well, and he felt something in the muscle, and that's why he had to come off in the first half. But according to what we are hearing today and what we are getting, TROSSARD will be back for Arsenal before the international break. That is massive. That is absolutely massive. Listen, I don't think we can afford any injuries right about now. We cannot afford any injuries, especially with key players: TROSSARD, Martinelli, Saka, Gabriel Jesus, Partey, Odegaard, Xhaka. We can't afford injuries to those guys. I would be okay if Ben White picked up an injury, because I know Tomiyasu can cover. I would be okay if Zinchenko picked up an injury, because I know Tierney can cover. Maybe not at that level, but he can't come in. But there are players who are irreplaceable in this Arsenal team. The kind of work Leandro Trossard puts in, especially when it comes off the bench, is beautiful. It's purely beautiful. He's 29. He has a lot of experience in the Premier League. He's played some of these big games: Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United, Manchester City. He's played some of those games at Brighton, and I tell you what, they've won those games at Brighton. They've won a few of them at Brighton, and it might actually be very, very crucial and important to telling us, these Arsenal players, that hey, look, if you're gonna beat Manchester City, this is how we did it at Brighton. Or maybe, he might do something very, very important in some of those very big games. But even if it's not that, the squad depth we will need in April is going to be massive, like absolutely mad. I want to tell you that we are playing 6 games, 6 Premier League games in 4 weeks in April. You know what that means? That means that Arsenal, regardless of what is going to come, will have to play a game, actually 2 games, every single week. Now, if we qualify for the quarterfinals of the Europa League, that means that Arsenal will be playing 2 games every single week. Those will be 8 games in April. Can you imagine? And I don't think we're going to have an easier opponent when it comes to quarterfinals of the Europa League, because most of the teams that I anticipate to go through, Sociedad, Man United, the likes of Juventus, the likes of Roma maybe, when you look at those clubs, those are not easy games. And if Arsenal want to go far in the in the semi-finals and probably the finals of the Europa League, we've got to play our best 11. So this is the time where we need every single player to be alright. We need every single player to be doing very well, physically, mentally, psychologically, and I don't care, right? Whichever aspect of their life, they've got to be fit. So Leandro Trossard, that's a massive boost for Arsenal. He will be back before the international break. That means that Arsenal will have him before the 20th of March. I don't have a problem with him not playing any game, but him picking up an injury right now, that is a massive blow. Number 1, we've just found a guy who can give us what Gabriel Jesus gives us. Number 2, we've just found a player who can literally be as versatile as you want them to come. Left wing, right wing, down to the middle, number 10. He literally can play everywhere. And his effectiveness in this Arsenal team is purely massive. Scores goals, creates assists, gives us the winning we want on the pitch, is a threat to opponents, 1v1, and the experience and all the things we get out of Leandro Trossard are actually really massive. I wanted him to be available for the Sporting CP game. And that's not because I think he would have played or not. But I think those are the kind of games where, he's signed for Arsenal to play, okay? I kind of feel sad for him. Because when you sign for a club like Arsenal, you're like, I'm going to be playing in Europe. I'm going to play in Europe. You remember Arsenal didn't play that first round of 16, which should be called the round of 32 technically. So he didn't have game time in Europe, and he thought, right, I'll play in the round of 16, on the proper round of 16. And here we are, he's picked up an injury. But if he comes back right before the game against Leeds, that's going to be a massive boost. Imagine having Trossard, Martinelli, Jesus, Smith-Rowe, and Vieira all fit. And Nelson, actually, right? And Reece Nelson. That means you have 6 players who can play as left wingers in that team. 6 players who can play as left wingers in that team. That is massive squad depth, and all those players are very versatile. Reece Nelson can play as a right winger with backing up Bukayo Saka. I think Emile Smith-Rowe can play as a number 10. I can also play in that false 9 position. We have Edin Ketia who can play in that first 9 position as well. Can also play on the left as well, by the way. So the squad depth will be huge when Leandro Trossard comes back, and we pray that he comes back as quickly as he can. Now, the other news in the transfer world regards Arsenal and Kieran Tierney. Arsenal are ready to sell Kieran Tierney in the summer. That is the story I'm getting. And they have actually put a price tag around the left back. Now, this is not the best story I wanted to do right now, because we are chasing titles, we are chasing trophies, And I think the best time to talk about transfers, especially players that are leaving, would be in the summer. But this is a story that is developing at a very, very quick rate. This is a story that we get an update about every single day. It looks like Quarantine will be leaving the club. I've already told you that I don't think he will stay. I don't think the player believes in sitting on the bench for Arsenal. I don't think he's one of those guys who go, I will stay at Arsenal and sit on the bench. As long as I love the club, as long as I love the badge, I'll be here. He's not Mohamed El Neni, okay? El Neni are the kind of guys who like, I like the badge, I like the badge, I play for the badge, and I will wait for my time to impress. Quarantine is not that guy. I think he loves Celtic more than he loves Arsenal, to be honest. And that's why you always see him, either his shin guards are Celtic, or his inner socks are Celtic, or his inner shirt is Celtic. And when you look at him and what he's given this Arsenal side, he owes us nothing. He's given us his best, and what we've done is sign in a guy that is better than him and put him on the bench. So he's gonna leave Arsenal as saying they will want a minimum of £25 million. Absolute utter idiots. We would be idiots if we go, this guy is 25 million only. We will be idiots. Like utter, absolute idiots. Let me tell you something. If there is a left back right now that has not been playing football in the Premier League but can command up to 50 million in revenue, it's Quarantine. Quarantine, with Luke Shaw's performance against Liverpool, can start for Man United. He can start for Liverpool, he can start for Chelsea, he can start for Manchester City, he can play anywhere in the Premier League right now. And the club that want him, Newcastle, they have the money. They absolutely have the money. If you told them Quarantine is not for sale, unless it's 50 million, Newcastle will pay that money. So why the hell are we willing to offer them a player, one of the best players in the Premier League, at left back, for half the price? Like, I don't understand this. Personally, I want him to go because he's a nice lad, he's a good guy. I don't want him to fall out with the manager because many of the fans will then hate him. They'll start saying, look, Cossy, Quarantine has fallen out with the manager, he's ill-disciplined, his character is bad. I don't want all that to happen. I want him to leave when he's still one of the favorites for the fans and fellow players. For me, his character, his zeal, his resilience, his leadership, he's a top-level guy. He's a top-level player. Like, I think some of the few players I think about in that Arsenal side, I'm like, this guy has the resilience of Quarantine. It's Martin Odegaard. It's Saka. It's Martinelli. Those players that never stop running. Those players that never give up. Those players... I remember a few moments in the Europa League campaign. I think it was last season but one, wasn't it? I think last season but one. Because last season we didn't play in the Europa League, okay? And we were playing Olympiacos. I think we're playing Olympiacos. And, he scored a very vital goal for Arsenal, for us to stay in the tie. And we eventually progressed, and that's why we made it to the semi-finals. Okay? So, for us to let him go, for us to, part ways with him, it's gonna hurt. It's really, really, really gonna hurt, okay? It will hurt. But, look, eventually, it happens. It all happens. Eventually, it all goes down to, is he fit for the system? Is the kind of player that the manager likes? I don't think he is, right? He's a good guy, great player, but he's not the kind of guy that Mikel Arteta wants. Now, talking about players that Mikel Arteta wants, Mikel is in talks with Reiss Nelson, or Arsenal in talks with Reiss Nelson to give him a new deal. His current deal expires in the summer. And Fabrizio Romano today has just written on his Twitter page, and he said for Reiss Nelson, it was always one thought. He always wanted to stay at Arsenal Football Club. Okay, he always wanted to stay at Arsenal Football Club. Now, I have a problem with Arsenal. I do. Number one is when a player impresses in a few games, we want to give him a new contract. Now, I'm not against Reiss Nelson signing a new contract. I would be an utter idiot at this moment in time to say don't give him a new deal. I would be an utter idiot. I want him to sign a new deal. I'm going to tell you why. But the mentality at this football club needs to change. When Edin Ketia scores a goal against Chelsea, one against Man United, and maybe a good performance against Brighton, that doesn't guarantee him a new deal. It does not, okay? when Xhaka puts in a good play and a good performance for a few games, that shouldn't get him a new deal. All right, I think Eddie Nketiah needs to be at Brighton, and Ferguson, the player at Brighton, needs to be at Arsenal. That's what I'm talking about, because Ferguson's mentality as a player is top notch. Okay, so Reiss Nelson signing a new deal, I don't have a problem with that. I think he should, because then that gives Arsenal a lot of power in negotiations. If he's gonna leave, eventually he will leave, because you look at the left-hand side, Arsenal want to sign a winger there, right? A left winger. You have Martinelli, who's been absolutely, soft and superb. You also have Emile Smith-Rowe, who is untouchable. He's English. At the left-hand side of the team. So you think about all that, and you're like, let him sign a new deal. If Arsenal eventually decide to sell him, then you have a lot of power in the in negotiations. But then I also think, like, with Reiss Nelson, he's one of those players that could be like, I don't know, maybe an Oxlade-Chamberlain, the kind of Lingard player. Like, he's always there. He doesn't want to leave Arsenal. Arsenal means a lot to him. So he gets a new deal. He stays, plays in the Europa League, plays in. Oh, we are gonna be in the Champions League. I'm sorry. Plays in the FA Cup. Does he play in the Champions League? I don't think he would be playing in the Champions League, to be honest. I really don't think he would be. I don't think he would be playing in the UEFA Champions League. But anyway, him getting a new deal, good for him. Gets us a very, very vital goal for 3 points. Yeah, that is massive. Now, hit the like button, subscribe, catch me on the 90 more as we review the weekend. Arsenal victorious, 5 points clear. And guess what? The red team was absolutely annihilated by Liverpool. We'll talk about that on the 91 podcast when you choose to subscribe. I love you. I'll see you right in the next one.